Disasters have a way of bringing people together. They forget politics, they forget the past, they're united by compassion for each other. Sometimes that rubs off on foreign policy too. Take India and Pakistan, for example. Relations hit rock bottom after 2019. Even trade ties were downgraded. But this week, there were murmurs of a thaw. Faint, but important murmurs. And the reason is the floods in Pakistan. They have affected more than 33 million Pakistanis. Around 1,300 people have lost their lives. Many more have been displaced. Pakistan alone cannot defeat this crisis. It needs assistance from abroad. In fact, Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari has admitted this. He appealed for foreign help. The question is, do they also want that help from India? So far, we've got mixed signals. Look at this tweet by Pakistan's finance minister. More than one international agency has approached the government to allow them to bring food items from India through the land border. The government will take the decision to allow imports or not based on supply shortage position after consulting its coalition partners and key stakeholders. In other words, talks are on, but Pakistan's foreign ministry has a different version. Their spokesman says no such proposal is under discussion. So which one is it? Does Pakistan want imports from India or not? Multiple factors will influence Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif's decision. Number one, of course, is politics. Imran Khan is breathing down Sharif's neck. If elections were to be held today, Imran Khan would make a comeback. And that puts the Prime Minister in a tough spot. The last thing he needs is to look soft on India. It could cost him valuable support. Factor number two, the scale of international support. Pakistan is already importing supplies from Iran and Afghanistan, especially vegetables. If those supplies are able to cool the markets, Pakistan may not need imports from India. In other words, India is their last resort. Officials in New Delhi are discussing the possibility of extending assistance. You could have a decision soon. From a strategic and humanitarian perspective, this aid makes sense. It would reaffirm India's position in South Asia. First, there were assistance offered to Sri Lanka and now perhaps to Pakistan. It would send the right message to India's neighbors that unlike China, India helps. Secondly, it would reveal Pakistan's thought process. If they welcome the aid, it would give us clues about where Shehbaz Sharif stands, how he envisions his relationship with India. On Wednesday, he dropped some clues. Prime Minister Sharif responded to Prime Minister Modi's message on Twitter. Here's what he said. I'm quoting that post. I thank Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi for condolences over the human and material losses caused by floods. With their characteristic resilience, the people of Pakistan shall overcome the adverse effects of this natural calamity and rebuild their lives and communities. So no mention of aid. But this Twitter exchange is an important one. It is the closest that Prime Minister Modi and Shehbaz Sharif have come to an actual conversation. And that may not be the case for long, because later this month, both leaders will be together at the SCO summit in Uzbekistan. SCO stands for Shanghai Cooperation Organization. The summit is scheduled for September the 15th and 16th. Neither side has confirmed a meeting, but multiple reports claim it could happen on the sidelines. If Pakistan is truly interested in normalizing ties, if they actually want to reset, then financial aid is a good place to start. It is not political, it is unlikely to trigger public backlash, and most importantly, it will help the Pakistani people. Same with India. If New Delhi does provide assistance, chances are it will be material assistance like medicines or food or tents, which means there is no risk of subversion. The aid cannot be diverted elsewhere by the government. Like I said at the start, disasters have a way of bringing people together, and right now it is rubbing off on foreign policy. Normally the public is hostile to India-Pakistan exchanges, both here in India and in Pakistan. It's the same sentiment. But we've seen the destruction from the monsoon floods. The scale of this tragedy could insulate both leaders from the public fallout. This is a story we'll keep tracking. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.